Hey, what's going on YouTube? It's Bruce Tech here, and today we're going to be looking at the next part of the A-Level ICT Unit 1 Topic 2 analysis, which is the next section for the AQA exam. So without any further ado, let's carry on. So the first part we're going to be looking at is the introduction. And basically in the introduction you need to be able to meet the client and try and gain as much knowledge or information about the problem at hand. You also need to collect facts about the input, process and output, which is going to be important later on, and gain a good understanding of the user and probably their skills through the information given from the client. So if we go on to the next slide, so the next point we're going to be looking at is the problem identification. So what we need to be doing with this section, you need to describe in detail what the problem is, as this is all going to be important for the sample work section of the exam. So this is the main body of the sample work. So yeah, we need to describe in detail what the problem is, identify who needs a solution to the ICT related problem, and identify who will use the solution. And also you need to organize this into a Word document for your sample work. This is a very common question that they'll ask, describe in detail what the problem is. So basically, using your sample work which you're taking into the exam with you, you should be able to answer that question through the information that you've received or done. So it's a very common question, so look out for that one through past papers. So the next one is what is the client? So basically the client is the person who has the ICT related problem and requires a solution, as you can see. And that's pretty much it, and that's another example of an exam question that they generally ask, and again they'll want you to relate it to your sample work. So if we go on to the next one, so what is the user? The user's job is quite technical, and basically it's the person who will use the solution to the problem, and this covers a wide range of areas. So this may involve actively using the solution, making alterations, update content or input new data. This is very common if it's a database or a spreadsheet, or use the output produced, so a hard copy, in one way or another. So these are just some of the key, there's many more, but these are just some of the examples that are used when looking at the users. So what is the audience? The audience job is quite simple, and basically this is the person who only views the solution but they do not make any alterations or input any new data or anything like that. So when looking at producing a solution, you need to consider the skills of the users, and there are a few main points. You need to consider the age of users. So for example, if they are a young person, they're generally going to be more upbeat about trying to understand the concept of computers, rather than an older person such as an OAP who may need some support when looking at ICT I don't know what the best word to use, interface, sorry, that's what I was looking for, yeah, ICT interfaces. So it needs to be generally accessible to them. ICT skills of the user, so this is their skill level, how much training they've had or how good they are with ICT systems. Language level, you want to make sure that your vocabulary is well suited to the group of users that you're going to be looking at. And the type of user interface speaks for itself, so what the contents within the interface. The next point is requirements and inputs, process and output. Now this is probably the most definite important aspect of the actual sample work for the exam. So first you need to create a list of requirements, and these can either be made up by the person who's solving the problem or from the client. However they actually are presented, these need to be definitely met, and they need to be ranked in order of importance, and then from there you need to create a input, process and output chart or table to present the requirements and how you go ahead and achieving to meet them. So how you're pretty much gonna meet the requirements. So here's an example. So this might be an example if you're going to be doing an interactive display on PowerPoint and you want to use podcasts. So the input will be podcasts need to be inserted into the PowerPoint through whichever file you want to use, WAV or MP3. The process for this is that timings will need to be set using the animation tool on PowerPoint, so the podcast plays directly before the text appears on the screen. So that'll be the process which you will be required to achieve the solution to the problem. And the output is pretty much speaks for itself again. The user clicks on the podcast symbol and the audio is played out of the speakers, which is an output device. So that's where you can pretty much pick up the marks by explaining in detail how you're going to achieve the requirements. And this also goes through later on in the specification when you're looking at test plan. So this has been Boost Tech here. Thank you for watching. Rate, comment, subscribe, and have a pleasant day. Bye for now.